The heat for RVing can be absolutely brutal, but today I have some tips to make your RV AC even colder, to kind of boost the performance of your AC. You might think that your AC is getting old or going bad, but you might change your mind after trying some of these things. You put a few of these tips together, your AC might be blowing colder than you've ever had before, and the inside of the RV is that much more comfortable. So let's get started. Now, to start off, there's absolutely some great products and some DIY solutions that's gonna boost the performance of our AC, but we first need to walk before we can run. We need to have the AC functioning as it should in the beginning so that we can then boost that performance. So number one, when you're looking at the AC, is airflow is king. And in the beginning of that airflow chain, we have our air filters. Now, this is something that you should do often. And cleaning the filters, the nice part is it's really easy. They're easy to get to, easy to pop out. And I'm just usually going to vacuum these off. You can rinse them off, dry them off, and then put them back in. But it's really that simple. I know there's a temptation here. You want to avoid that of, hey, if this filter is good, what if I had a better, thicker filter that's going to catch anything that comes through there? You don't really want to do that because you're kind of pre-baking in the restriction of the air going into there. This is really simple. Just keep the filters clean. I can't stress how important these initial steps are because we don't want to just throw a Band-Aid on it. You have to optimize it first. Now, the second part of the airflow are the coils on your AC. If those are clogged up, you're definitely not going to get the heat transfer that you need to for your AC to cool the inside properly. So these do need to be cleaned. I do recommend doing it early in the morning or when it's not hot outside. Ours were definitely overdue, but you can get a cap that has a brush on there to get rid of the excess that's on the outside of these coils. Then you can use a foam spray for cleaning the coils on your AC. That foam is going to get in there, break up the stuff that's in between all those fins and start to pull it out. You might be tempted just to try and clean it with a vacuum and call it good, but really getting that foam in there to clean out in between all those fins because the air needs to pass in between all these little tiny fins. And that's what this foam is for. And the foam is self-rinsing, but I like to use a squirt bottle and clean it up. Get all that gunk out of there before I fire the AC up. If you look at the before and after, it's a huge difference when you clean this. Again, this isn't really that difficult. You just have to go through the process of doing it and getting it clean. Now, there's one more area for the airflow before we get into some of these tips to really start boosting the performance of it. And it has to do with the divider, the mixing of the air inside of the AC. Let me show you what I mean on this AC, but usually these three things, when you're looking at the airflow, are some of the biggest culprits for why your AC might be freezing up inside your RV. Oftentimes we hear that if it's low on refrigerant, that's why it's freezing up, and that absolutely can be the reason why these are not serviceable. So if that's the case, you need to swap it out. But oftentimes it's just airflow. If you don't have the proper airflow, they absolutely can freeze up. So check these things first before you replace your AC. If you do need to replace your AC, that's going to bring us to today's sponsor of the video, which is eTrailer. They're sponsoring the tips for making your AC more efficient. So if you go through all this and you need to replace your AC, or if you're like me and you're going to be adding an extra vent in the back bedroom to make things balance out a little bit more, definitely check them out. They have a lot more things than I think people realize for RVs. I've been using eTrailer for years. I appreciate their descriptions. Oftentimes they do better than the actual product websites that you go to get all the stats, the size, the BTU, what is all packed into these units. They also have the opportunity to ask an expert. So if you had a question, you could type it in right there and get an answer for exactly what you're looking for. So if you're trying to stay within a certain system or what that might look like, they're a great resource for RVers for getting gear for your RV. There'll be a link down in the description and in that first comment to eTrailer. So the divider on the inside of the AC, that's what is going to divide the return air and the cold air that's going to be coming out of it. You want it completely sealed up from left to right, top to bottom, no mixing of the air in this area. And this is typical for non-ducted units or AC units that have the option to go into ducted or to be able to dump all that cold air into the room. But for the ducted AC, a lot of people will remove this for a better option. And that brings us to our first modification that we can do to really boost the performance. And it's the RV airflow system that goes in there. We actually have 4 options here, which is great that we have options all the way from a really inexpensive DIY to RV airflow being at the most expensive, but probably at the top of the game for getting the most flow out of it. So this is an insert that you can put inside of the AC unit. Is what it's going to do is it's going to eliminate the ability to have it dump the air into the RV, and it's going to send it directly into the ductwork. So RV airflow uses a styrofoam in order to do that. It's a very smooth transition. It definitely is going to help with the sound noise inside of the RV as well. But then there's also Cool RV. Definitely a lower price point for the Cool RV, kind of more of a flexible ducted type of a system. But then we go to our first DIY option. Number one is a 3D printed option. I'll put a link down in the description to all the different options, but this one is kind of interesting because you can get a 3D file in order to be able to print this. This is the Y adapter for one of the units that's out there. You get it specific to your AC unit, and then you have these pieces that go to the ductwork. And then you connect these together with a dryer vent. So the dryer vent goes in between that. It's a pretty inexpensive little system, but you can also do the foam board way of creating your own diverter inside of there to be able to go to the ductwork system. While I'm really intrigued by this one, at this time there's not a module for this AC, so I'm going to go the DIY route with the foam board. So basically you're going to create like an A-frame type of a shape in there. You're going to make it as smooth of a transition that goes to the ductwork. Basically what all these options are doing is removing the turbulence that's happening inside of the AC unit in order to get the air to the ductwork system, and it's smoothing out and directing that entire process. The increased airflow that you'll get from this will absolutely make your RV colder faster. Now, on top of the usually 40% increase that you see from RV airflow, getting that through into the vents, they also have a diverter that kind of scoops the air out of the ductwork and through the vents. So basically you're going to replace the back end of that vent system, and it has a scoop. So what I did, I don't have that, but I thought, why not try and make something with the 3D printer since I've been experimenting with that. So this is in no way as good as what they have, kind of the first version, but it basically just snaps right on there. The idea is it's supposed to scoop the air in like the other one. So it definitely needs to be refined, needs to be a little bit taller, but I'm going to put a link down in the description if you're interested in checking out the file or you want to improve it. It kind of gives you an idea of the starting point that I began with. So something that's kind of fun. Another thing that I did to the vents to increase the airflow through them is our vent system is not a chase through it. So this is because we know that ours is not connected all the way through. I even put a camera up in there to see that each trunk line, we have two duct systems, one on this side, one on that side, and they are not connected in the middle other than at the AC. So I say that because some of them are. They're like a chase. They're like a loop that goes all the way around, and you wouldn't want to do this if that's the case. But what I did is I took expanding foam. I used the door and window kind because it doesn't expand quite as much. It doesn't create as much pressure to misshape things. So right past our last vent, I sprayed some of that expanding foam in there. And I definitely saw an increase in the vents by doing that. And I also make sure that that seam between the duct and the ceiling was sealed with tape so that we don't lose any cold air into the attic space. So then I thought, how can I take it to the next step up above that and find inefficiencies so that I can make it that much better? And so what I did is I ran around with a thermal camera. This is where the usual suspects kind of show up: the vents, the windows, a lot of heat intrusion through those. But one that often gets overlooked is the skylight in the bathroom. That lets in a massive amount of heat. So while for the windows you can close the shades or put in Reflectex, or you can put in the insulating pillow in for the vent, or they even have shades that you can close and open for that will help out. For the bathroom skylight, I'm just going to use a piece of foam or Reflectex and cut it out to that shape so you can put it in there and block some of that heat. You'd be surprised how big of a difference this makes. The other thing you can do is orientation. How are you setting up your RV? For us, we know that setting us up east to west, which might sound a little odd because then the side of our RV is facing south, is actually better for us in the summertime because that east to west, the sun is directly overhead, so you get the morning sun on the end and then we get the evening sun on the cap. If we're facing north-south and we're catching that west sun in the evening on our RV where we don't have an awning, the heat that comes into the RV is ridiculously different. I know we talked about orientation, but if you can get your RV in the shade, that is a game changer as well. Doesn't always help out for solar and trying to get satellite internet, but you can play those games and figure out what your weak point is and where the pain point is for your situation. The thing is to stack all these things up to you and your favor in keeping the inside of the RV cool, making it run as optimally as it can, taking control of where that air is going and how it's being dispersed throughout the RV. But I think that's going to do it for today. That's a lot of things to be able to strategize to keep it as cool as you can inside the RV, get the coldest air that you possibly can out of it to stay comfortable in the RV. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it helped you out in some way. So if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video. Take care.